Hey guys, what's going on? It's Meshi with Meshi TV. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. Today, we are going to be piggybacking off of my previous video when we were talking about the 3 things that I stopped doing during COVID. And today I'm going to be talking to you about what are the few things, maybe it's going to be 3, maybe it's 4, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but what are the things that I have started doing during this time that has actually made a big difference. So if you are home and you're obviously you're home, but if you're struggling, you're having a hard time, and you didn't want to fall off your wellness journey wagon, that you started your wellness journey and you started to really pay attention to things, but you didn't really want to lose that momentum, I think this video is definitely going to be for you. We're going to cover some of the few things that have helped me during this time and what are the things that I have started doing that is making a tremendous difference. So if you wanted to kind of watch and let all of that unfold, then just stay tuned. And before we get right into the video, I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me in this video. And if you like videos such as this one, please let me know in the comments that it has resonated, because then I can make more of these types of videos for you guys. And also consider subscribing and hit the notification bell. That way you get notified every time we release a new video, which right now the schedule is a little wonky, but I promise we will figure it out together. Okay, without further ado, let's just dive right into the video. So in my previous video, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, I will just link it into the cards here, but we were talking about what are the things that I have completely stopped doing during COVID when we basically shut down my clinic and I started staying home with our children. And what are the things that I really stopped doing because they were just absolutely not working for me, or they didn't really make sense for me to continue to do. Now I wanted to tell you what are the things that I have either continued to do or I literally just started doing. So the number one thing that I started doing when we have sort of began the quarantine, and we're not really in quarantine at this point, we're basically just asked to stay home, but it started out with staying home for about 3 weeks, and then now they have extended it for another month, so essentially we're home for 2 months. But the very first things that I have started doing almost right away was actually create a schedule for my children, because they thrive on routine, and I knew that they will be thriving on routine, and I knew that my mind will also become a lot more functional and our days will become a lot more functional if I actually schedule them in. So in the next video, I will kind of walk you through how I was using the planners that I do have and how I was sort of structuring our days, where they sort of got what they needed from schoolwork, and then I can also get the work done that I would like to get done without feeling resentment. And that part took a couple of weeks for it to kind of work out the kinks, and it's still not perfect, but to be honest, like things change every single day. So I added enough flexibility where the kids get sort of the activity, and we work in not only their school subjects that are actually part of their curriculum, but I also added in crafts, and then I added in mindfulness practices as well. I thought that mindfulness practices at this time is just so incredibly important, because if we lose that sense of attachment to how to stay present right now, I think that it's not very difficult for us to run away with our emotions based on the weather or based on the things that are happening or not happening. Like, we can be very easily triggered at this point. At least I can be. I feel like if I don't manage my emotions appropriately and I don't create some sort of a structure and a boundary around my days, then it can feel like one day kind of melts into the next, and before you know it, you have no idea whether it's a Monday or a Sunday. So that was the number one thing that I have done, which has actually made a difference, because now on a Monday morning I wake up excited that, listen, we're going to get our day started. These are the activities that we're doing. Like, I use a whiteboard, or I use a blackboard, like a chalkboard, where I kind of write out the ideas that I have for mindfulness, the ideas that I have for crafts, I write down everything, because then that way, for one, I don't have to remember them. And I give the choice to my children so that they can choose which one they would like to pick for today. So the other thing that I have started, so number 2 that I have started doing during COVID is I have doubled down on anything and everything wellness tools that I have. So that includes supplementation, that includes lymph drainage practices, that includes hydrotherapy practices. If you guys want to see more in detail of any of these practices, comment below and let me know. I would love to cover it a little bit more in detail in a separate video. I also started to start meditating in the morning, read inspirational books, magazines, and also scriptures that I thought that they were really uplifting. I also started to not only meditate, but then we also have intention cards and affirmation cards. So we each pull a card in the morning. So we set our intentions in the morning, and then we also go through our gratitude list in the evening. And while we're not super consistent with it, but when we do end up doing them as a family, then it does make a big difference. So using all of that in combination, I don't get so strict about when we use these tools or how long we use them, because I think what matters is that you end up remembering to use them when you need it. So I became a little bit more flexible in that way, which brings me to my third point. What is the third thing that I started doing? I started to become a lot more flexible in ways that we can get certain things done in the time frame that we can get certain things done, and instead of being so rigid of certain things have to be done from like 10 to 11, and if it doesn't, then the entire day has been written off. Sometimes I would make plans, like lesson plans for my children, that I would like to start at 9:30, and one of them has a meltdown because they haven't talked to their friends for like 4 days. So I have learned to not be so super rigid when it comes to that, because I have to sort of run with the flow a little bit better. And I understand, especially with children, that when they have a meltdown, it's actually, that's how they are processing. You know, it's no different than when you and I are processing our fears or our anger or grief or pain. It's the same thing, that you have taken them out of a certain structure and routine, and if you don't replace it with something else, then they will rebel, because their little minds and bodies, they don't really process it the same way as you and I would. And I think that we can actually learn a lot from that, because me approaching them with kindness and empathy and understanding and adding a little bit more flexibility will also, it has added a lot more flexibility into my days and what is actually possible. So these are some of the basics. I also started to add mindfulness practices into my day as well, because I felt that this is the time to really practice humanity. You don't have to be a meditation teacher, you don't have to be a spirit junkie, you don't have to be any of those things in order for you to just brighten someone's day, like sort of that random act of kindness, you know, that goes a long way. So we have written like positive notes on our sidewalk. I've seen a few people in our neighborhood have done that as well. We also started to write notes. They say thank you notes, but really like it's just a variety of greeting cards that we have, and we started sort of decorating it similarly how I would decorate like a planner, and it's almost like a little storyline, and it could just say super random things, and then at the end we just kind of write like, we love you all and we miss you and we were just thinking about you. So something very simple, but it has helped me to connect back to the person that I'm writing that card to, and when we have given those cards out, then it actually brightens that person's day. So doing little things like that when you might be writing that off as, okay, it's a waste of time, whatever, but it ends up making a big difference. And you might not think that it makes a big difference in your day, But when you start adding in, it's sort of like when you start creating a smoothie and you just keep on adding in all the good things, eventually you're not really going to have space left for some of the negative or poor choices. You know what I mean? So I kind of look at it like the more good you add into your day, the more it's going to be filling up that cup. And at the end of it all, you know, all of these little practices, they add up to one big thing. I also started to use my journal. So if you have seen my previous video, the Erin Condren surprise box unboxing video, I have shown you that Erin Condren has sent out a vision. It's almost like a vision board, but like in a booklet, but it gives you journaling prompts and things like that. And I think I give you like a full in-depth look of like what the inside looks like and how you would use it. If you want to see it in action, by the way, also let me know in the comments. I would love to create just a separate video about that, because we're not going to go into detail here. I will just put it into the cards once again, the unboxing video. If you haven't seen it yet, then you make sure to check that out first. But I started using that in the evenings along with other journaling type books, where I can literally just write down how I'm feeling, write down, allow myself to sort of process. Because when you sort of turn off that noise of distractions and, you know, that pressure that I have placed myself under, that I need to be creating, I need to be doing this, I need to be, and then I would be filling up my days with the need to be and I should be's, then it left very little space and time for me to actually prioritize truly what's important, which was my mental health and my emotional health and my physical health, which is what has been bumped to the top of the priority list right now. So these were some of the basic things that I have started doing. There's so many more that I could tell you about, but I don't want this video to be like a million hours long. So this is all I'm going to share with you guys for now. If you want to see specific routines or how I apply these tools, let me know in the comments. I would be so happy to create that for you guys, so that hopefully it serves you in your wellness journey as well. This is all I got for you for today. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, you already know what to do. You can give me a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell. That way you get notified every single time that I release a new video. And in the meanwhile, keep shining, you guys. Keep connecting back to truly what's important, and take care of yourselves. And I will see you guys again in my next video. Bye.